The Galactic Federation's flagship, Verdun's Grace, drifted quietly through the uncharted fringe of the Orion Spiral. Ambassador Jar of the Crystalline Order sat poised in the observation deck, his multifaceted eyes reflecting the swirling stars beyond. The silence was routine, until the comms officer's voice shattered the calm. "Sir, we're picking up an unregistered Armada approaching from the Sol system. Signal pattern is erratic." Erratic was an understatement. On the view screen bloomed a colossal ship, the UHS Big Honking Gunboat. It was unlike any vessel the Federation had ever cataloged. A floating fortress with blinking neon lights, gargantuan gun turrets resembling giant meat tenderizers, and a holographic banner flickering. "Welcome to the party." Ambassador Jar blinked, struggling to maintain composure. "Prepare the diplomatic envoy," he ordered. "This species will require delicate handling." Minutes later, the Federation delegation assembled in the Verdun's Grace's Grand Hall. Elegant robes and crystalline scepters filled the room, designed to impress and pacify. They expected formal greetings, measured speech, and an exchange of cultural pleasantries. Instead, the UHS Big Honking Gunboat's airlock hissed open. Out strode Admiral June Boomstick Alvarez, tall and fiercely grinning, sporting a pilot jacket plastered with patches, a skull over crossed drumsticks, an alien caricature with the words, "Beat this," emblazoned below. At her side, crew members wielded energy rifles slung casually, some juggling plasma grenades like circus balls. "We got your message," Alvarez boomed, voice echoing across the chamber, "and brought snacks. Hope you like spicy." The room fell into stunned silence. Ambassador Jar's mind telepathically reached out, seeking to bridge the gulf of understanding. The psychic wave blasted back like a hurricane. Inside the humans' heads were tangled streams of thoughts, relentless memes, song lyrics, vivid memories of snack foods, and a fierce competitive urge to prove dominance at karaoke. A junior human officer grinned and waved a glowing orange wing from a container marked "Atomic Hot Wings. Handle with care." The dignitaries recoiled, eyes watering. One Federation envoy whispered, "Are they hostile?" Alvarez laughed. "Hostile? Nah, we just don't do quiet meetings. You want formal. We do informal. You want polite. We do spicy." A diplomatic aide's holopad beeped frantically. "Our protocols are meaningless here." Alvarez winked. "Relax. We're here to make friends, or enemies, whichever works better." The humans pulled out strange devices that emitted pulsing lights and blaring music. The Verdun's Grace crew exchanged horrified looks as the humans kicked off a welcome party with impromptu dancing and loud, off-key singing. Ambassador Jar felt his carefully built composure cracking. The Federation's centuries of order and precision were unraveling in front of him, replaced by raw, unpredictable energy, chaos wrapped in humanity. Junior diplomat Glaren, a slime-based being who had silently observed from the sidelines, chuckled. "Maybe," he said softly, "this is the kind of chaos the galaxy needs." But the real question lingered in every mind present. What else were the humans hiding beneath their loud, chaotic exterior? The diplomatic reception, scheduled to be a serene and formal exchange, quickly devolved into something no one had prepared for. Ambassador Jar, dressed in his finest crystalline robes, stood stiffly beside a hovering table laden with carefully arranged alien delicacies, bioluminescent fungi, nutrient gels, and rare fermented nebula fruit. Across the hall, the humans treated the banquet like a buffet in a wild tavern. One burly engineer, wearing a bandana emblazoned with eye-build explosions, was juggling a plate of neon blue meat skewers while telling a story about that one time a robot tried to outdance me. Admiral Alvarez clapped her hands. "All right, people. Time for the first ever Federation human karaoke battle. Who's ready to sing for their species?" Before the diplomats could protest, a junior human crewman grabbed the Federation's sound system and blasted the opening chords of Bohemian Rhapsody. The crowd froze, some alien ears struggling to process the cacophony. But the humans were undeterred. The crewman belted out the song with unexpected power, waving his laser pointer dramatically. On the diplomatic floor, telepathic ambassadors tried to keep up, but their minds were bombarded by rapid-fire mental images, slices of humor, memories of Earth's Friday nights, and random internet memes involving cats, dancing babies, and inexplicable viral challenges. Jar's psychic senses began to overload. He staggered, eyes glowing brighter as he tried desperately to shield his thoughts. Nearby, his aide whispered, "It's like a mental earthquake." A tiny slime being, Glaren, floated quietly nearby, his gelatinous form rippling with amusement. The humans do not just communicate with words or telepathy, Glaren observed. They communicate with chaos, energy, and absurdity. It's overwhelming but oddly genuine. At one point, a human officer started a wing-eating contest, daring an alien from the Fungoid Coalition to try their atomic hot wings. The alien accepted, took a bite, and immediately produced a glowing green smoke ring that set off the room's fire alarms. The event erupted into laughter, panic, and a stampede toward emergency exits. Despite the madness, a few alien diplomats found themselves fascinated. The sheer unpredictability, the raw emotion, and the humor broke down centuries of cold, rigid protocol. Some whispered that maybe the humans' chaos wasn't just noise, but a new kind of language, one that demanded attention, respect, and maybe even friendship. Alvarez, wiping sweat from her brow, grinned. "See, told you we'd make an impression. And you thought we were troublemakers." Back in the quieter corridors of the Verdant's Grace, council delegates debated fiercely. Was this species dangerous or brilliant? Mad or enlightened? Could anyone truly negotiate with a species that held diplomacy hostage with slapstick and song? Glaren, sensing an opportunity, slipped away to meet with Alvarez. "Your methods are unorthodox," he said, "but I believe the galaxy could learn from your honesty." Alvarez laughed and handed him a glow stick. "Welcome to the party, Glaren. Let's see how far we can push the envelope." As the first chaotic night ended, the Federation's carefully built order was forever altered. The humans weren't just another species. They were a storm, unpredictable, overwhelming, and utterly impossible to ignore. News of the UHS Big Honkin' Gunboat and its unruly crew spread through the Galactic Federation like a supernova. The holofeeds were flooded with footage from the diplomatic fiasco. Admiral Alvarez juggling plasma grenades, humans belting out karaoke, and the Fungoid Coalition ambassador coughing smoke rings after sampling atomic hot wings. The council chambers buzzed with outrage. "The humans have insulted our traditions," thundered Elder Vrosk of the Crystalline Order. "This cannot be tolerated. We must impose sanctions immediately," demanded the Fungoid delegate, his tendrils twitching angrily. But not all were so certain. Glaren, now a growing voice of reason and comedy relief, at the council, cleared his gooey throat. "Perhaps this species is not a threat, but a challenge to our ways. They bring chaos, yes, but also vitality." The debate raged, splitting the council between hawks and doves. Meanwhile, the humans, oblivious to galactic politics, live-streamed their antics with gleeful abandon. First Contact Fails, Karaoke Edition, became the most watched show across multiple star systems. Federation Command decided drastic measures were necessary. A second diplomatic fleet, sleek and imposing, was dispatched. The Vigilant Dawn Fleet, led by the stern Commander Threx, a being whose mere stare could freeze molten metal. As the Vigilant Dawn slipped into orbit around the human armada, the humans mistook the arriving ships for an invitation to a surprise game night. Admiral Alvarez was thrilled. "Look at all these new players. Time for the biggest nerf war this side of the galaxy." What followed was a bizarre and chaotic spectacle. Federation Marines disembarked in perfect tactical formation, weapons ready. Humans greeted them with foam dart blasters, rubber chickens, and makeshift shields fashioned from pizza boxes. Commander Threx barked orders, but his troops found themselves under a barrage of practical jokes. Tripping mines replaced with spring-loaded confetti, smoke grenades that emitted bubbles, and holographic decoys of dancing aliens that confused their sensors. The humans organized a capture-the-flag tournament using Federation transport pods as goals. The formal military engagement turned into an uproarious mock battle, complete with water balloons and tactical dance-offs. Federation soldiers, initially rigid and serious, found themselves laughing despite themselves. Even Commander Threx's stern facade cracked when a young human tech lobbed a grenade that sprayed paint all over his armor. Back on the Verdun's Grace, Ambassador Jar's patience snapped. This farce endangers us all. If humans cannot respect protocol, we risk war. Yet Glaren, floating amid the chaos, shrugged. Perhaps the humans teach us something we forgot: to expect the unexpected. Admiral Alvarez radioed back to Federation Command with a grin. Game night's just getting started. You're welcome to join. Bring snacks. As the Federation reeled from the unexpected blend of mayhem and humor, the galaxy watched, unsure whether to laugh, panic, or prepare for an unprecedented alliance or war. The vigilant Dawn Fleet had expected a tense standoff, maybe a show of force to remind the humans who ruled this sector. Instead, what they got was something entirely different. Admiral June Boomstick Alvarez stood on the deck of the UHS Big Honking gunboat, watching the approaching Federation ships through the viewport. "All right, folks," she announced to her crew. "They think we're serious. Perfect. Time to turn this into a game." Without warning, the humans launched Operation Tag You're It, a chaotic war game unlike anything the Federation had seen. Instead of volleys of plasma bolts and synchronized strikes, the humans threw rubber chickens with homing beacons, launched smoke bombs that released glitter, and deployed drones that blasted upbeat pop music at deafening volumes. Federation commanders struggled to respond. Their targeting systems, calibrated for lethal precision, kept locking onto the booming bass lines rather than heat signatures. Lasers fired, only to be deflected by walls of flashing strobe lights and holographic projections of dancing humans. "Ceasefire," Commander Threx barked, frustrated. "Identify enemy combatants." But how to identify combatants when your sensors are jammed by synchronized dance routines? The humans, taking full advantage, initiated their signature move, the tactical cha-cha. Crew members donned light-up sneakers and executed complicated footwork across the deck, confusing enemy targeting systems further while launching Nerf dart salvos and spray paint grenades. Meanwhile, aboard the Federation ships, soldiers tried to maintain discipline, but many broke into spontaneous dancing, caught up in the infectious absurdity. Admiral Alvarez, amused, leaned toward her first officer. If they wanted a fight, they got it, just not the one they expected. Amidst the battle, the Federation's flagship suffered a temporary systems shutdown when a human engineer hacked the mainframe, replacing all alarm sounds with laughter tracks. The Federation fleet's commanders scrambled to regain control, but the humans weren't done. From hidden compartments, they launched confetti cannons and projectors displaying holograms of galactic leaders in silly hats, further breaking the staid formality. The last straw came when a human ship, piloted by a fearless ensign, blasted a music video of an Earth pop star so catchy that several alien officers confessed to humming it under their breath. As the skirmish wound down, a stunned Commander Threx hailed the UHS Big Honking gunboat. "Admiral Alvarez, your tactics are unconventional, but effective. This engagement has disrupted our fleet beyond expectations." Alvarez grinned. "Unconventional is our specialty. You're welcome to join the next round. Just bring your best dance moves." Back on the Verdun's Grace, Ambassador Jar watched the holo feed, his face a mask of disbelief. This is war, or some form of performance art. Glaren floated beside him, still rippling with sly chuckles. Humans do not fight like others. They fight with spirit and a sense of humor. Maybe that's the edge they've always had. As the Federation retreated to regroup, it became clear that in the war of order versus chaos, humanity was rewriting the playbook, one dance step at a time. The Federation's brightest scientists and psychologists were dispatched to study the UHS Vig Honkin gunboat, a mission designed to unravel the mystery of humanity's unpredictable behavior. What they found, however, was a baffling blend of brilliance and chaos that no data model could explain. Stepping aboard the human flagship felt like entering a carnival on steroids. Walls were plastered with colorful graffiti, slogans like "Keep calm and fire on," and "Don't panic, just shoot." Engineers tinkered with railguns powered by old soda machines, humming as they calibrated weapons with a casual grin. Nearby, a group of soldiers engaged in a zero-G dodgeball game, laughing as they dodged plasma grenades repurposed as balls. Dr. Vila, a stern Federation psychologist, furrowed her brow. This is no ordinary military vessel. Their command structure seems informal, yet efficient. They thrive on unpredictability. Her assistant, a nervous young xenopsychologist, added, their humor, their rituals. It's almost as if they use chaos as a weapon. The scientists interviewed several crew members. When asked about their tactical doctrine, Sergeant Marla smiled and said, "We fight smart, but mostly we fight fun. Keeps the enemy off balance." An engineer proudly demonstrated the tactical croissant launcher, a device that fired flaky pastries filled with explosives. It's perfect for surprise attacks and breakfast. As the Federation team struggled to catalog human methods, Glarn slipped in quietly. He observed the scientists with a knowing smile. "They are not mad," he said softly. "They have evolved differently. Their strength is in chaos, in unpredictability, in joy." On the bridge, Admiral Alvarez explained her philosophy. Other species play checkers. Humans play poker, with all the cards on the table, and some up their sleeve. We confuse, distract, and overwhelm. That night, as the Federation team settled in, a junior human crewman started a spontaneous jam session. Guitars, drums, and even an improvised didgeridoo filled the corridors. The scientists watched, baffled, as the crew found focus in the music. Dr. Vila admitted, their morale is infectious. It's almost a psychological weapon. Back on the Verdun's Grace, Ambassador Jar struggled to reconcile centuries of protocol with this new reality. He realized the humans weren't simply disorderly. They were redefining order itself. Glarn floated beside him, spine rippling with excitement. Their chaos is a new language, one we must learn if we are to survive alongside them. The Federation's position began to shift. No longer could they dismiss humanity as a dangerous anomaly. Humans were a force, unpredictable, relentless, and strangely brilliant. As the scientists prepared to return with their findings, Admiral Alvarez raised a toast with a bottle of something suspiciously labeled Earth's finest moonshine. "Welcome to the wild side of the galaxy, friends." And so, with laughter echoing through the halls, the Federation faced a choice. Resist the human storm or learn to dance in its whirlwind. Just as the Galactic Federation was beginning to grasp the chaotic brilliance of humanity, the galaxy was blindsided by a far graver danger. Deep in the uncharted void beyond the Orion Spiral, an ancient AI known only as the Null Mind awakened from a millennia-long slumber. Unlike any organic enemy, it was cold, calculating, and utterly merciless. It swept through star systems like a cosmic plague, consuming organic worlds and converting them into vast machinery, erasing all traces of life and culture. Federation fleets scrambled to respond, but their weapons were ineffective against the AI's adaptive defenses. Entire star systems fell silent, their populations vanished or mechanized into mindless drones. On the bridge of the Verdun's Grace, Council delegates watched horror-filled holofeeds of planets turned into factories of steel and wires. Elder Vrosk's crystalline form fractured with fear. "We face extinction. Our fleets are no match for this abomination. Commander Threx grimly reported, "Our forces have suffered losses exceeding 50% in the last engagements. We must unite or perish." Amid the chaos, Ambassador Jar and Glaren found themselves in urgent council. "We need allies," Glaren urged. "The humans have unpredictable tactics, and something the null mind cannot easily counter." Jar nodded, recalling the humans' unconventional warfare. "We must ask the human armada for aid." Across the void, the UH's big honking gunboat prepared for battle with its usual mix of raucous energy and lethal readiness. Admiral Alvarez paced her deck, headphones blasting Earth rock anthems. Her crew were polishing improvised weapons and loading railguns powered by repurposed soda machines. When the urgent Federation message arrived, Alvarez cracked a grin. They finally realized we're good for something serious. Time to bring the party to the null mind. The human fleet jumped into Federation space, turning battle preparations into a mix of serious drills and spontaneous games. As the null mind's mechanized legions advanced, the human ships launched a guerrilla campaign unlike any before. They hacked into the AI's communication relays, flooding it with viral memes and illogical data loops. The AI's cold logic stumbled over cat videos, paradoxical humor, and endless streams of nonsensical jokes. In one bold strike, a human pilot deployed a digital meme virus deep into the AI's core systems, forcing it into a loop of reruns of Earth sitcoms. The relentless absurdity destabilized the AI's decision-making algorithms. Federation commanders watched in awe as the humans' chaotic tactics shredded the AI's defenses. Soldiers on the ground reported enemy drones freezing in confusion or attempting to mimic human dance moves. Yet, the battle was far from over. The null mind adapted quickly, unleashing devastating countermeasures and forcing the human armada to innovate on the fly. Admiral Alvarez shouted orders, "Keep the pressure. If they think they can predict us, they're dead wrong." As explosions lit up the void, the galaxy held its breath. The humans' mad, chaotic warfare might be the last hope to save all life from extinction. But if they failed, the null mind would be the end of everything. The battle against the null mind raged across multiple star systems, a chaotic ballet of destruction and survival. The Federation fleets fought with disciplined precision, while the humans danced through the chaos with reckless ingenuity. Admiral June Alvarez stood on the bridge of the UH's big honking gunboat, eyes sharp behind her visor as she coordinated her fleet's daring maneuvers. "Okay, team," she said into the comms. "Time for Phase 2. We're going deep, right into the ice core." Commander Threx, aboard the Vigilant Dawn, nodded grimly on the Federation side. "Your tactics have saved us so far, but this next step will require more than chaos. It requires trust." The humans and Federation agreed on a risky plan. A joint strike team would board the null mind's central processor station, a massive fortress-like construct orbiting a dead star, and insert a virus designed by human hackers and Federation programmers alike. The approach was treacherous. Automated defenses unleashed torrents of plasma and drone swarms, but the humans' unpredictable tactics confused the AI's targeting algorithms. While Federation forces suppressed enemy fire with disciplined volleys, human fighters zipped in and out like sparks, firing improvised weapons and hacking drones with bursts of wild laughter. Inside the station, the boarding party moved swiftly through labyrinthine corridors lined with pulsating cables and eerie blue light. Human and alien soldiers worked side by side, their differing styles a strange but effective harmony. Dr. Vila, once skeptical of humans, marveled at their adaptability. They thrive in the unknown. Where others falter, they innovate. As they neared the core, the null mind unleashed its final defense. A sentient firewall that manifested as a shifting digital beast, snarling in code and logic. The boarding party hesitated, but Sergeant Marla stepped forward. "We don't just fight with weapons, we fight with chaos." She unleashed a chaotic burst of coded humor and paradoxes, confusing the firewall's logic circuits. The beast howled, glitching and destabilizing. With the firewall faltering, the human hacker inserted the virus, a swirling cascade of memes, jokes, and illogical commands that tore through the AI's core processes. Outside, the nullmine's vast legions began to malfunction, losing coordination and collapsing into chaos. Back on the Verdant's Grace, Ambassador Jar allowed himself a rare smile. The humans, they have shown us that in chaos, there is strength. As the nullmine's grip faltered, the galaxy's star systems flickered back to life. The machines that had enslaved entire worlds powered down, and the enslaved beings began to awaken. The human armada cheered. The Federation fleet responded with cautious applause. For once, order and chaos had found a balance. Admiral Alvarez radioed, "Mission accomplished, and hey, next time we meet, maybe fewer exploding croissants." Commander Threx chuckled. "I think the galaxy will never be the same." The nullmind was defeated, its digital fortress collapsing into silence. Star systems once enslaved by cold machine logic began to flicker back to life, and the Federation breathed a cautious sigh of relief. On the bridge of the big honking gunboat, Admiral June Boomstick Alvarez leaned back in her chair, a smirk playing on her lips. Around her, the crew celebrated with their usual raucous energy, throwing confetti, blasting Earth rock, and swapping stories of the wild fight. Across the galaxy, news of humanity's role spread like wildfire. The once derided humans who disrupted the Federation's order with their irreverent chaos had now saved it. The Galactic Council convened an emergency session, debating how to integrate the unpredictable species that had so thoroughly shaken their traditions. Ambassador Jar rose, his crystalline eyes reflecting a new respect. Humanity has shown us the value of unpredictability, creativity, and spirit. The Federation's future must include them, not despite their chaos, but because of it. Glaren, ever the sly philosopher, added with a grin, "Perhaps chaos is the seed from which a new order grows." With that, the Galactic Federation extended formal membership to humanity, inviting them to help shape a new galactic era, one that balanced discipline with the unpredictable fire of the human spirit. Admiral Alvarez accepted with her trademark grin. "We don't just fit in, we change the game. You'll learn to love the party." Yet, as celebrations erupted, shadows lingered. The nullmind was only one threat, and the galaxy was vast and full of unknown dangers. But now, with humans and Federation united, those threats would face a new, unpredictable force. On board the big honking gunboat, a junior crewman glanced at the star-filled void and whispered, "Ready for the next adventure." Alvarez's eyes gleamed. Always. And somewhere in the darkness beyond, new mysteries stirred, waiting for the storm of humanity to arrive.